Alright, here we are, again with some random green icons around the map, but no biggie. So, last time we got back from a pretty lengthy exploration section, in which I went essentially all the way around the map. There's still certainly a corner up here I haven't really explored. Didn't go through the center area here, mostly bypassed this swamp, even though it's got some of it revealed. So certainly still more areas to hit, but I'm really happy with how much we came back with. And I figured this was a good opportunity. I've already pre-prepared some materials, so let me try to hopefully fit all of those into my inventory. Looks good. I figured this would be a good opportunity to knock out a bunch of MAM stuff. So first of all, we've got a lot of alternate recipes unlocked from hard drives. So many that I seem to be running into an issue with scrolling through them. So I figured it's about time to go through and actually start picking these. Now, I'm probably going to end up picking some very non-optimal recipes here because I don't know how most of these fit in together. But I thought it would be worthwhile to go through them and, get these out of the way. And I don't really want to spend the time, looking up like, oh, what is the exact optimal recipe for everything. I'd rather just kind of guess on it. So let's see. We don't have any alternate ways of making iron ingots. Copper, Caterium. We did unlock this pure Caterium ingot recipe, which I was really hoping to find pure recipes for everything, but alas, haven't gotten there yet. I was trying to decide if I would instead get these tempered recipes for everything, but I can't make up my mind. There's a tempered copper ingot recipe. Tempered Caterium, but I don't think I have tempered iron. I have basic iron ingot. So I think I might just ignore those. I was able to scroll there for just a second. I wonder why. Oh. It seems like selecting one seems to help. Okay, so I feel like this recipe is kind of a joke, but with dimensional storage, it might be nice to actually set up automated crafting of these things so that they end up in my inventory automatically. Or I could just go and get the tempered ingots for each of these. I think I'm going to choose the probably worst choice and just get this. I kind of want to either unlock all of the alternate ways of making ingots or none of them. My idea is to set up one big foundry smelting location, either using the pure ingot recipes that use water or the tempered ingot recipes that use petroleum coke. But I feel like the pure ingot recipes that use water are probably the ones I would go with regardless, because water is just so plentiful compared to oil byproducts. And I feel like I could be using the oil more effectively. At least that's my thinking. So I'm just going to go ahead and unlock this. Get it out of the way. Sure. Again, I very seriously doubt that these choices were optimal. Oh, and you'll notice I have 2 hard drives remaining unscanned. So that is because there's some research, specifically in sulfur, that requires you to use hard drives as a research input. So I could get this relatively easily, but I also don't really think I care about scanning for hostile organisms. They tend to find me, and I tend to find them pretty easily. I don't really need to go looking for them. Oh, this. I definitely want to unlock this. It does mean expending another summer sloop, but this power augmenter seems very useful. Let's go ahead and knock that out.
Power augmenter unlocked. Summer sloops naturally harvest. Yes, harvest energy from distant sources and distribute it locally. The power augmenter supercharges summer sloops by feeding it local power, increasing its harvesting range and efficiency, and thus power output. Basically, the more power it's given, the more it provides.
Do not loop the loop organ. It will shred and tear and unravel the threads, many temples burned.
Good to know, that confirms that hypothesis.
And what is this? Alien power matrix? I have no idea what this is, and it requires an input, which I also have no idea what it is. So, I guess we'll be coming back to that in a long time. Okay, so yeah, I can increase the upload speed to the dimensional depot. I do think that seems worthwhile, especially for something like concrete, where I go through it so quickly, doubling the rate at which it can upload seems really useful. I will say I don't understand. So this upload upgrade, at the top it says 30 per minute, 60 per minute, 120 per minute, and then 240 per minute. That's all very straightforward. That makes sense. What I don't understand is the upload speed percentage that's listed as the reward, because it says Dimensional Depot upload speed 50%. But what does that mean? Because the default upload speed was 15, so you're doubling it, so it's not increasing it by 50%. And it's certainly not setting it to 50% of some total speed, because 30 is not 50% of 240. And then the percentage decreases as you go down these. Dimensional Depot upload speed 25, 12.5, 6.25. I don't get what that percentage number means. Maybe I'm just missing something. But the top, like the actual name of the upgrade, makes it very clear. 60 per minute, 120 per minute. I just don't understand the percentage numbers, but I suppose I don't have to. So let's go ahead and research this.
Dimensional upload speed increased. All of the kinetic and thermal energy released during matter conversion has now been repurposed to aid with dimensional shifting, allowing several parts to pass through, for free.
The window is beautiful. Have you tried making a door?
I assure you that would be a most unhealthy action for the pioneer to take.
And the other one is, of course, to increase capacity. I kind of want to see, though, so like most of my production is paused over here. But I imagine that as soon as I unlock that stack size increase for the Dimensional Depot, we'll suddenly hear the whole factory turn on behind me.
Dimensional expansion increased to 300%. New understanding of matter manipulation technology allows the dimensional storage to deconstruct all matter to the subatomic level, storing its elementary particles until the part is recalled.
You are digging into deeper layers. Shallow matter contains wind of symphonies and void songs and deep echoes.
It is fascinating what one can find out simply by looking closer.
So yeah, there we go. Suddenly everything's running, well, for the most part, except things that don't have a depot hooked up yet. But yeah, suddenly everything turns on because there's more room to store in that depot. So yeah, we should see a lot of bars progressing now. That's so cool. Yes, and then everything I uploaded during exploration sitting there. I do wish I could clear these out if I didn't intend to use them again, but it's no big deal. Alright. So now let's go through some other trees because, well, just to double check, I'm assuming that everything else is, yeah, out of my price range or understanding. So let's move on to Caterium. Is there anything I wanted to unlock here? Programmable splitter, this. Probably not really, not for now. Mycelia. Okay, so I could pretty easily get this. Here, I need to actually create some polymer resin. That's something I could do, but haven't done yet.
Gas Nobelisk unlocked. Chase away creatures with a damaging cloud of gas. Note: also harms unwary pioneers. Not for recreational use.
Okay, we'll have to see how well that works. I feel like a lot of enemies, or at least stingers, for example, seem to hang out in poison clouds and not take any damage from them. I wonder if this is different? Because boy, it would suck if things like stingers were just completely immune to a gas Nobelisk. But maybe it does damage everything, because it's not necessarily the same poison. Okay, alright, might as well unlock Shatter Rebar. I'm not sure how much I'll use that, but let's go for it.
Shatter Rebar unlocked. These quartz-infused rebars fracture when fired, launching deadly debris in a wide spread. Fixit does not condone the use of such violent methods, so make sure there are no witnesses.
Will do. Okay, and a Pulse Nobelisk. I don't even know what this does. Maybe it's like a big area stun?
Pulse Nobelisk unlocked. This ammunition for the Nobelisk detonator generates a powerful shockwave capable of repelling nearby objects, including the user. Unrelated. Please ensure all your Fixit liability waivers are up to date.
Okay, so a powerful shockwave, but I'm unsure how useful that will be. I guess we'll find out. Oh yeah, and power slugs I can't complete yet. So on to sulfur, and here are the recipes that require a hard drive as an input, which is why I kept a couple around. So let's go for compacted coal first.
Compacted coal unlocked. It is physically smaller and more powerful, but its carbon footprint remains enormous. This fuel upgrade can be used in coal-powered generators and vehicles. Research completed. Smokeless powder recipe unlocked. New sulfur research available for the development of high-end weaponry and ammunition.
Okay. Is it worth rushing down the rifle? Oh, rifle ammo. Okay, interesting. Oh, though it uses aluminum. Let's go ahead and research turbo fuel.
Turbo fuel unlocked. This upgrade to regular fuel is optimal for fuel-powered generators, jetpacks, and fulfilling long-distance trucker fantasies.
Okay. So yeah, I think that turbo fuel, when fed into a fuel generator, produces a significantly greater power output than just base fuel. Or maybe I should say that you need less turbo fuel to produce the same power. I'm not actually sure how that works. Okay, and then there's more fuel types. Rocket fuel and ionized fuel. I'm pretty sure that these are new to the 1.0 version of the game. I'm sure I could push for even a little bit more, but I think that is good for now. Boy, yeah, can't wait to get a nuke Nobelisk. Though, I don't recognize that middle ingredient, so that means it's a ways out. So, it's been a long time since I've looked at milestones. How are these looking? A fair bit of computers. Okay. And then you, yeah, a lot of heavy modular frames. I would like to get Blueprint Mark IIs, but for now I'll just leave it alone. So yeah, a lot of computers, a lot of heavy modular frames. Fuel power generator. 250 megawatts. That's a huge step up over coal in terms of per generator, at least. And it would be fantastic to produce that using turbo fuel rather than just normal fuel, so that I'm getting, the maximum power I can out of a specific location. I'm not sure if the current oil area I've found is going to be a good site for power generation, or if maybe I should look for alternatives. Perhaps out in the swamp. I'll bet there's oil out there. Worth thinking about. Oh, and it's been a while since I've checked out the Awesome Shop. I bet I have a large number of tickets sitting around because of this setup, where I've been producing a lot of alien DNA capsules and feeding them in. 49. Nice. Let's go ahead and take those and maybe pick out some new stuff. Okay. And I'll probably get 10 tickets again here before long to go back and get that Fix-It factory cart. But that's essentially all of the building materials, that at least the ones I'm most interested in, done and accounted for. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Let's put our one remaining ticket away. 1/10 of the way back to that factory cart. Okay, so I feel like we're doing pretty good. I think the next big thing is figuring out where to build some new factories and what we want each of them to produce. I also would... Let's head out this way, because I was doing some scanning earlier. Not for this. Oh boy. For geysers. And there are some geysers that are out this way. And I've actually already built a couple of little test geothermal generators. Though I haven't hooked them up to any grid. They're just kind of sitting there, producing power that I'm not using. And as I mentioned before, I would like, at least I think, to use geothermal generators to power our transportation networks. Things with variable power draw. That's an impure geyser. Maybe I don't want to bother with that. At least not, yeah, not when there's a normal right next to it. So yeah, with these, you just pop down a generator right on top of it, and that's it. Once the generator is built, it will produce power. And specifically, it'll produce power. Where can I look to interact with this? Whoa. It'll produce power on a rotating schedule like this. So you can see it's ramping down, and then it'll go all the way down to 100 megawatts, and then it'll immediately start ramping back up again, up to 300. And it's 300 at the top end because that's a normal node, whereas couple of other nodes that I got previous. Oh, there's a Mercer sphere right there. Also, we got another hatcher. My favorite. Okay, well, I got him.
Your symphony invades our temples and echoes along our lattices. What do you believe?
Growth, the future, an idea, and frankly, you.
Is a tapestry woven with hands or with thoughts?
Both are necessary, yet only one can't function without the other.
We see your echo steps, shimmering symphonies that break upon our temples, but your song is alien.
How long ago did you notice me?
There's no long, there are only spheres.
I wonder, was it always about survival, or is there something more, something beyond?
Consume our blood and you will see our threads.
Okay. And yeah, let's go look at this area where I built a couple of geothermal generators just a bit ago. And yeah, as I said, they're just sitting here, not doing much. There is a lot of sulfur in this area, which is really nice. I mean, impure, but I think they were varied. Yeah, oh yeah, here's a pure node. Maybe the other one is normal? Yeah, all three right here. Wonder if there's any coal near here, because it could be a good place to make compacted coal. Not especially. There's coal out there. Normal. Maybe a pure node off by itself. Okay, there is a lot of coal out there. And then, yeah, sulfur. Is there any other sulfur in this area? Probably not. Yeah, I was forgetting about that pure node over there. Oh, and that's right next to a sulfur, well, impure. So I could make compacted coal there. How is turbo fuel made? Okay, so there's, yeah, turbo fuel, packaged turbo fuel. Okay, but at least, I I can't make turbo fuel directly out of packaged fuel. I'd have to unpackage it, mix it with compacted coal, and then repackage it. Or just, use unpackaged fuel to begin with. Okay. And I do see that other Mercer sphere down there. Might as well grab that while I'm here. Alright, yeah, the more Mercer spheres I find, the more depot uploaders I can make, so the wider variety of things I can have automatically populating my inventory. Now that we've got an upload speed increase and a stack size increase, that should work out even better. See, I would like to get these onto a separate network, at least I think. We'll have to do some figuring on how to cable that up. Maybe I'll just use, a whole separate slew of power towers with maybe a different color scheme to make it obvious. Something like that. Oh, we got a big boy. You gonna throw rocks? Yeah. Oh! Sent him to another dimension. Gotta be something up here, right? Maybe I already got whatever was up here. Oh! Where are you? Okay. I don't know why I'm suddenly having enemies clip through the map issues, but guess I'll just leave them be. Gosh. This thing, the sounds it makes, freak me out from time to time. Okay. So, yeah, maybe I will start stringing an alternate power network connected to those geothermal generators. I also want to start doing some planning for production of various things. So this is going to be steel production. Sure. Rock. Yeah, that's a fine color for it. Because, yeah, I think there's a pure coal node here, and then a whole bunch of iron nodes right across the canyon, so that seems good for that. There is Caterium here, which I'm currently using. Have I still not gotten this Mercer sphere? I feel like I have, and just didn't remove the mark on the map. But we shall see. And then here, there is sulfur right next to coal. So I could be making compacted coal, but I don't know if that matters, at least until I'm actually making turbo fuel. Let's see, I marked something out here. I don't actually know what that is, though. Whoops. I've got a lot of sulfur up here, and coal further out here. So maybe that would be a better place to produce compacted coal. I just don't know. I'm gonna produce quartz products here. I figure I'll just make both silica and quartz crystal. and ship those out separately. And there must be something down in this pit worth looking at. I'm just going to have to do sort of a circuit and remind myself where all the resources are and start building, or at least planning out, some new factories. All right. Well, I figure I will pause here and maybe do some reconnaissance and then be back. All right, here we are back again. So yeah, I haven't done a whole lot. I've laid out some amount of foundations up here, which we'll take a look at in a second. But mostly what I've been doing is just trying to plan. So my initial thought was to design factories around like a specific resource, like, oh, okay, this will be my iron factory, and this will be my steel factory, and this will be my caterium factory. But I don't think that approach is necessarily the best, at least until I've got like a much more significant rail network together or something like that. Because the issue that I'm running into is that, you know, when you find resources on the map, like using this area as an example, there's never just one type of resource. Like, there's a lot of iron in this area. You know, there's a few nodes up here, and then there's a bunch of nodes back here that I used for my initial, you know, very first base. But, you know, there's also limestone, and there's copper just over that ridge. And similarly, over here, where you can see that I've started building some infrastructure, there's a copper node there, and then over there are a couple more iron nodes, and then there's a limestone node here. You know, the point being that, you know, unsurprisingly, it's very rare to find an area on the map that has just like a vast quantity of one type of resource. So for that reason, I'm not sure, at least at this stage, that it makes much sense to build a dedicated iron factory, for instance. You know, because I want to make use of things like this copper node sitting out there, if possible. So I kind of decided instead, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll focus on like a particular type of manufacturing that I think can incorporate all of the local resources. So with that in mind, what I've sort of decided to do is to build a factory here that will focus on what I'm calling essentials. I just named it that because it felt bad to call this like basic factory or something like that. So I decided to call this like essentials. And what I'm thinking is that this will focus on a lot of iron products, but also things like wire and cable and concrete. A lot of the like early game resources, since this area seems to be set up to handle that pretty well. And then down here, I called this exotics, and my thinking is to have steel manufacturing going on here. I was also going to try to incorporate the SAM that we're pulling out from underground. I don't know if you remember, I had forgotten until I went back here to scope it out, but there was like a crack in the ground here that had some material that looked like it could be destroyed with nobelisks. And I'm hoping that I can blow that away and then just pull SAM directly up from underground rather than that long belt line that I have running through the caves and then out to this docking station. Freight station over here. So yeah, my idea is that this will focus on steel and SAM and maybe some higher end products like encased industrial pipe or industrial beams, though I might use the pipe recipe. We'll see. and maybe even rotors and stators, though I'm not totally certain of that. And then over here, I was thinking this would be a good area to focus on electronics. The primary goal there will be to get the manufacturing of computers actually up and running. So this has access to a pure Caterium node up here, and I believe another pure one down here that I can redirect into that. And then there's some copper nodes over here that I was even thinking of just pulling into that as well. So yeah, we'll see. These are going to be some pretty large factories, pulling in resources from fairly far away. I try not to belt, as I've said, I try not to belt too far. But given the scale at which we're going to be building is increasing, I think it's reasonable to have like this factory built on this like sort of low plane here, pulling from basically this whole area. But we'll see. And then similarly, this one will pull in resources from essentially like this whole area, which kind of means that these two will be nearly touching, but we shall see how it goes. And then this one will pull from like this whole area here. At least that's my thinking. And then anything that needs to go between factories will probably be done with trucks. I could also just build like a bridge, for instance, between these two and belt it over. I'm still making up my mind about that. And then way out here, I've just labeled this quartz processing. I don't really think that this will be much of a factory at all. All I'm planning to do is pull quartz out of the ground and then turn it directly into quartz crystal or silica, excuse me, and just ship those via truck out to various locations where they're needed. Probably mostly the electronics factory. And then way out here is something I was sort of scouting out. I'm thinking that at some point this would be a great place to produce turbo fuel. So if you remember around here, I've got a few or a couple of geothermal generators, and there's also several sulfur nodes all packed in right here at this sort of hot spring area. And there's also a belt of coal out over this way. And I did a scan, and it looks like there's oil somewhere around here, though I haven't actually explored that. So, all in all, between sulfur and coal and oil, I was thinking this might make a great place to produce turbo fuel en masse. But, we shall see. We shall see. Something I'm going to have to think more about. This will probably be the last one that I build, unless the power situation starts to look like it's getting out of control. If this coal plant is just not going to be sustainable for our needs, then I might be forced to start looking at turbo fuel ASAP. Besides that, as you can see, I've started to build out some bridges, trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to pull in some of these more far-flung resources from around this area. And then I was thinking that this plateau here would make a great place for sort of the central production of this essentials factory, as I'm calling it. And I think that maybe over here, where I built this original sort of bridge factory at the start, maybe that would make a good place to make like a transport depot for trucks to come and pick up any resources that are necessary. So, yeah, something I'm still figuring out, but that is the general idea. Oh, and one last thing to mention are these power towers I've set up. So I'm just using some new blueprints for these. as you can see, the top, and then the sort of top of the support pillar, and then the continuation of the support pillar. So between those, it makes it very easy to plop these down. Just boom, boom, boom. And got a pretty nice looking power tower anywhere I need it. Oh, yeah, I do actually want to dismantle that. But yeah, these green towers, I'm figuring, will form our variable power network, is how I'm thinking of it. So anything that has variable power production, specifically those geothermal generators, and anything that has variable power consumption, specifically train stations and truck freight depots, I'm figuring it would be great to get those all onto this single shared network and also build, a significant battery storage site, power storage site at some point. Maybe I'll build power storage up on this plateau, since I've already got a tower very close by. Could just run a line down and then across, and just basically build some sort of structure with a lot of these batteries, these power storage units. So that's the thinking. And then I've got a different set of towers with my default factory sort of yellow-gold color scheme that will act as my stable power network. So planning to put anything on there which I expect to have a consistent power draw and consistent power production, like the coal plant, for example. So that is the thinking. And I figured that the first place to start would be actually with quartz extraction, because I think that's the simplest thing to build. I guess I might as well actually ride this power line out there. It's a faster means of travel at this point. Okay, so yeah, here you can see one of the geothermal plants we put down. And then this network continues out here to the other two geothermal plants. But I'm figuring I will focus on this first. That's going to be the end of today's episode. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.